of these CBA negotiations where literally everything is on fire right now in the world of women's basketball. Everything is burning.
There was plenty of people that boycotted watching this WNBA All-Star game. It was plenty of people. I watched it. That's how I know how trash it was.
This was the day everything changed. The day the quiet tension inside the WNBA finally snapped like an overstretched wire. Reports started pouring in. A commissioner under fire. Sponsors demanding answers. Fans mobilizing in numbers no one had ever seen. And at the center of it all were three players who never asked for a war but suddenly found themselves holding the front line. Caitlin, Sophie, and Lexi. It all began with one leaked message. One warning aimed at the league's brightest stars. A spark that landed on dry grass. Was this the moment fans stopped watching basketball and started defending it?
CC's out for 2 weeks. Now's a good time to boycott the WNBA.
Hit like if you believe this story goes far deeper than a simple dispute, because what comes next is the sound of a league losing control.
Like this. Fans in every sport. She described the fans.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what sport you're in. It doesn't matter what sport you pick. That's how fans act. In every arena. In every arena.
The chain reaction began quietly, almost too quietly. The kind of moment you ignore until it is already too late. Inside the Fever group chat, players saw a message that did not look like guidance. It looked like a threat. The commissioner had allegedly warned Caitlin Clark to step away from outside events, especially golf appearances that had drawn massive attention and praise. It was not a request. It was a directive disguised as authority.
Look, there's another one right there. There's the foul that wasn't called on Natasha Cloud. Boycott the WNBA. A lot of people are saying this is the time. That this is the time. They're not going to tune in while she's out.
But it did not end with her. Sophie saw her name mentioned. Lexi saw hers. Three players tied not just by a team, but by a season filled with body checks, cheap fouls, online hostility, and endless debate about who deserved what attention. They read the message and froze. Caitlin's shock is that they cannot even play golf. They cannot even have lives. The leaks spread fast, faster than anyone expected. Fans recognized the pattern instantly. They remembered every moment that seemed unfair, the missed calls, the targeted hits, the benchings that were framed as protection, and now a threat aimed directly at the only trio many believed carried the league into a new era. The community did not see this as discipline. They saw it as the final push after months of pressure. So the question rose like smoke from a fire. What happens when the league finally threatens the wrong stars? Because this was the moment fans decided they were not just spectators. They were part of the story now, and they were ready to act.
And honestly, you guys, these details do not matter. This does not matter. What has transpired over this last 72 hours doesn't matter at all. And at this point in time, I don't know who to trust. So I don't actually care so much this is the same kind of stuff that has been going on for the past 6 months. Clearly, both sides are trying to gain the approval of the public's opinion. They're trying to sway how the public feels about what's going on in the CBA negotiation. So was the WNBA lying and kind of boosting their story by saying that we're going to give the players 1.1 max salary?
This is where the story stops feeling like a sports argument and starts sounding like a movement. Once the threat against Caitlin, Sophie, and Lexi leaked, the public did not simply react. They erupted. It began with one tweet, a single post from a furious fan that rocketed to more than 1 million views in hours. From there, the entire digital world caught fire. Reddit threads grew by the minute. Instagram stories multiplied faster than the league could refresh its inbox. TikTok flooded with commentary, edits, and breakdowns. It did not matter which platform you opened. The message was the same. Enough is enough.
What the hell is going on with WNBA that they cannot handle all this attention that they're getting, as well as the hate and anger towards Caitlin Clark?
First things first. Respectfully, Brittany Griner was in a Russian prison. You would think that somebody who is now free, back in America on home soil, would not have too much to complain about.
Fans did not just connect the dots, they connected their memories, the soft calls, the hard fouls, the strange silence around officiating, the sense that the most exciting rookie in the league was being boxed in instead of lifted. And once they placed this new threat beside everything they had been watching for months, the frustration turned into something stronger: commitment. People began signing the boycott not as individuals, but as groups. Families added their names together. Entire AAU teams posted videos pledging to sit out the 2026 season. Longtime ticket holders who had supported the league through thin years declared they were done until the culture changed. What began as anger became something generational. If you have been watching the WNBA for years, comment the first year you became a fan. Your timeline tells the real story of how long this pressure has been building.
But yeah, Cathy, she had to get this done because the Paige Becker's hysteria didn't quite land the way that the WNBA thought it was going to last year. They thought it was going to be Caitlyn 2.0. They thought that they were going to have just hysteria in Dallas, and it's not the same, man. Maybe you should have tried to get the Connecticut Sun the first pick. Maybe that would have been a good idea last year. Just give the Connecticut Sun the first pick. But that would have been very hard to do. I don't think they had any, they were second best team in the league. I don't think they had any chance to pull that off.
This is where the story shifts from emotion to economics, from chat rooms to boardrooms. When the boycott count crossed 200,000, the first corporate partners did not wait to study the numbers. They moved. Some froze their payments immediately. Others called the league office with pointed questions, and one sponsor representative delivered a sentence that sliced through all the noise. This is not a league problem. This is a commissioner problem.
There was plenty of people I saw online who said, yo, Caitlin Clark not playing. Oh, she's hurt and they don't want to call fouls. Okay, I'm not giving them a view. I'm not going to watch. There was plenty of people that boycotted watching this WNBA All-Star game. It was plenty of people. I watched it. That's how I know how trash it was.
That is when the tone changed. For years, the WNBA treated its supporters as an audience. But now, the people who watch the games and the people who fund the games were suddenly aligned. Both sides were saying the same thing. Stop fighting your stars. Stop threatening the players the world cares about. Stop turning a generational opportunity into a crisis.
Fans in every sport. She described the fans.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what sport you are. It doesn't matter what sport you pick. That's how fans act in every arena. In every arena. So, and then when you, clearly she's not remembering who they let out to get her back.
The Merchant of Death.
The Merchant of Death. An arms dealer that wanted to kill American citizens, according to the reports. That's who they let out.
Inside the league offices, executives began to understand the truth they had ignored. Fans were not a marketing target. They were one of the structural pillars holding the league upright. And sponsors were not passive partners. They were financial engines capable of shutting the lights off with a single decision. The calls kept coming. Frozen accounts, delayed renewals, quiet warnings that if Caitlin walked, money walked with her. It did not take long for the pressure to rise to the highest office in basketball. What happens when the people who write the checks and the people who buy the tickets both demand the same change? Because the next person to walk into this story is the one who understands pressure better than anyone, Adam Silver.
For her, you would think that you would be smiling, you would be ecstatic, you would be happy, and something like this wouldn't faze you at all. The fact that it does is disturbing. I'll leave it at that. When it comes to Caitlin Clark, now I've taken hits because I was calling it from day one. You got people that are resentful towards her. But it's really not about her, guys. It's about what she represents. Before she ever came along, there were a lot of outstanding basketball players who happened to be black females.
Inside league headquarters, the atmosphere felt less like an office and more like the control room of a ship taking on water. Phones rang non-stop. Staff rushed between desks with trembling hands. Some were crying at their screens as emails poured in faster than they could open them. Social media dashboards were flashing red. Sponsor messages were stacking, and the boycott number kept rising like a countdown clock. Then the room went silent. Adam Silver arrived, not with a smile smile or a calm commissioner tone, but with the gravity of someone who had been pushed past his last limit. He placed a heavy binder on the table, the sound echoing across the floor. People stopped typing. No one dared to breathe. He looked directly at the commissioner and asked the question everyone else had been too afraid to voice. Why are players being threatened for living their lives? Why is Caitlin being warned? Why are Sophie and Lexi being pulled into this mess? Why is the league targeting its own stars instead of supporting them? No excuses mattered. No explanation softened the blow. Silver made it clear that stopping players from golfing or appearing in outside events was not policy, it was not strategy, it was not leadership, and it needed to end immediately.
That was doing their thing on the WNBA level. And they never got this kind of shine. This girl, the Golden Goose, comes along and she wreaks havoc. She's the Rookie of the Year. She's 4th in the league in MVP voting. 4th in the league, her rookie year.
Wow.
Outstanding. She's like Steph Curry. She can pull up from anywhere. You understand? She has that kind of capability. Then won a national championship. Lost to LSU one year, we lost to South Carolina another year, but she's outstanding and clearly worthy of being the #1 overall pick.
Then came the strangest moment of all. The assistant commissioner leaned in and whispered something into Silver's ear. His expression changed. Frustration took over. He stood, shook his head, and walked out without another word. No meeting, no vote, no discussion, just pure disappointment. That walkout sent one message to everyone watching. If the NBA steps in, the situation is worse than anyone thought. If leadership accountability matters to you as much as it matters in every sport, subscribe now. And while the league office shook, something very different was happening hundreds of miles away in Indiana.
And what I was saying to everybody is ride the wave. Rising tide lifts all boats. The girl is spectacular. It's not like she's not a scrub. She's not only can play, she's a star caliber player who draws this attention. And maybe it's because that fan base that she has and her being a young white lady contributes to it. So what? Benefit from it. And then you have a lot of folks that have come to the defense of numerous WNBA players because they were pointing out like this has been going on before long and people are not hating on her. It's not about hating on her. It's that you feel she is getting a level of attention that you deserved and you warranted long before she ever came along.
While league executives scrambled, the Indiana Fever training facility was wrapped in a very different kind of silence. ITF was not panic or chaos. It was something deeper and heavier. Caitlin Clark sat with her phone in her hand, watching the boycott numbers climb with every refresh. 200,000, 220,000, 235,000. Each jump felt unreal, like watching a storm build across the horizon, but not quite understanding how fast it is moving. Sophie Cunningham saw her reaction and immediately sat beside her. Lexi joined without hesitation. 3 players who never expected to be symbols, suddenly becoming the center of a national movement. 3 athletes who simply wanted to play basketball, now carrying the hopes of a fan base that believed they had been mistreated, silenced, or targeted all season long.
It's understandable, but it happens. You think there weren't players that weren't jealous of Michael Jordan? That didn't resent Michael Jordan? Okay? Ask the Detroit Pistons how they felt about Michael Jordan and how much they enjoyed beating him up before he ultimately captured the championship. Eventually, he got tired of getting his ass kicked. Like literally, they slammed him to the floor, invoking Jordan rules.
Exactly.
And he got tired of all that, got himself bulkier, bigger, etc. And all of these things happen. The point is, Magic and Bird, Jordan, Kobe came along, there was resentment. I mean, the list goes on and on. It happened.
Caitlin, Sophie, and Lexi. The image of those 3 sitting side by side spread through fan communities like wildfire. People saw unity. People saw courage. People saw the exact opposite of what they believed the league had shown them. This raised a haunting question. Did the fans rush to protect the players? Or did the players simply give the fans the strength to finally defend themselves? That moment marked a shift. It was no longer about scoring, fouls, or rivalries. It was about trust, and the league was about to learn how quickly trust can collapse. What do you think? Was the boycott the beginning of a collapse or the beginning of a reform? And when the next season arrives, will fans return to cheer the league or to rescue it? Kindly let us know your thoughts in the comments.